Adebayo Shitu, a former minister for communications, said that when Buhari gives you an appointment or gives you an assignment, he does not bother to check you. So you can run riots. So a situation where you have a CBN governor who can run riots and you have a president who is so inept that approval can be signed by him and he does not even know what he's signing or monitor the implementation of such approval. And then you have the Tunde Sabiu, you have the Mama Daura, you have the Issa Funtuas. All of these are the cabals in the Den Aso Rock who are close to the president, who run the shots. And then you have an Emefiele who feels that these people are doing him a favor. He takes and gives to them, and then he takes for himself also. Recently, Honorable Kazari, a member representing Kazari Federal Constituency at the Federal House of Representatives, did say that it was the issue of stamp duties. And he said that stamp duties collected by the CBN were domiciled in a private account, and eventually that money was turned around and loaned and borrowed to government as loan from foreign, agency. And that money was supposed to be the federal government fund, but Emefiele round-tripped the money and then borrowed it to government. And while Emefiele was under investigation by the DSS then, he ran to Mr. President. The man, jokingly, even said something, Sheon. He said, if Emefiele gives you approval, dollar approval from the CBN, he said, if Emefiele gives you dollar approval from the CBN, the kind of alert you get is didim. The man jokingly said this thing. And people thought he was joking. And that is how open the Nigerian vote in CBN is. That the central bank, when you have a president who hardly read memo, who gives you approval without even knowing the kind of approval he's giving. And I want to quote Kazari also. He said that once you take a document to the then President Buhari, he will ask you, between you and your God, is this true? Once you say, I swear by Allah, the man will sign it for you. And he will not bother asking you again. So when you have that kind of head, all of these attempts are trying to shade President Buhari, say he didn't grant approval for all of this withdrawal for me, is also neither here nor there.
If you were, Liborous, sorry. If you were President Buhari, even before they take this matter to court, because if the federal government, and this is what everybody needs to know, if you're not very familiar with the process here, is that the federal government under Bola Tinubu and on assuming office, as soon as he removed Godwin Emefiele from office, wanted to know what was going on. And he asked an investigator in the person of Mr. Obaze to look into the books. In fact, there were also reports by some auditors that came out which show that the CBN had borrowed money from two banks. Am I right, Mr. Paul Alaje?
Yes.
From two banks,
yes.
Foreign banks that CBN had borrowed. Those are initial situations. But this one was the fact that this private investigator was supposed to unravel what really went on in the last 8 years in the CBN. Afterwards, this report will be officially submitted to the person who appointed the investigator, and the person will decide what he or she wants to do with that report. That is what we're supposed to be saying. If you were, my question is this, Liborous, if you were President Buhari, former President Buhari, even before anything comes out from the president, Bola Tinubu, what would you do to this report if you are hearing it?
First and foremost, Sheon, I want to tell you that this is not the first time Obaze is investigating the CBN. This is not the first time. All of the investigation that the Obaze conducted into the CBN where Buhari just came on board, what happened to it? What became of that report? Ask Obaze himself. At some point, there were even allegations that his life was threatened. Now again, he has conducted another investigation. If I were President Tinubu, it is not just Emefiele. Emefiele didn't act alone. The central bank deputy governors didn't act alone. That's what I'm telling you. A lot of people need to also be dragged into the net President Muhammadu Buhari, first and foremost, was the buck stopped at his table. I've mentioned today's Sabiu's name more than 3 times on this program now. He also, they said he approved the Naira redesign policy on that report. But then the question you will ask yourself, the Naira redesign policy, apart from, for you to redesign the currency, apart from approval from the board, apart from the nod by the president, a Federal Executive Council ought to be convened to debate the matter and also give further approval. All of this were not done by the president. And the Supreme Court reiterated that position. We started debating the propriety or otherwise of these things. All of these issues, you have a president who, once he gives you an assignment, he goes to sleep and he assumes that all has been done. So why these monies were being stolen and borrowed to us as a country, while we are busy borrowing from China, borrowing from everywhere, most of, and even the return loot from Abacha, and people were saying traders' money and the rest, these funds were being stolen clearly under a President Buhari. There's need for President Buhari also to answer to some of these allegations. All of the names that have been mentioned, all of the cabals that were in Aso Rock, Emefiele wouldn't have just sat down and been dishing out funds for himself without some people's connivance. So this report alone is on Emefiele. If I were President Buhari, President Tinubu, the issue would now be, who are those people that worked with Emefiele, including the bank MDs?